So I've got a few slides here regarding the construction methods. So just to pre-warn you, I won't be talking about what construction method you should be using for a passive house, because that would be entirely separate talk. But what I wanted to talk to you is that the building designed to the passive house standard obviously require well-insulated, airtight building envelope with a ventilation system that can recover the heat from the exhaust air. And when we consider insulation levels, what we do, we check the U values of the construction buildup, which measure the ease that the heat passes through the building assembly. And the lower the U value, the better the insulation thermal properties. So again, on the table on the left, you can see a various standards that shows you the U values of the components as well as airtightness backstops. So when considering the construction method, apart from specifying the high level of insulation and the buildup of the construction that will reduce the thermal bridges, you want to make sure that your building will be airtight to reduce any kind of air leakage and the heat loss through any kind of gaps and cracks within the fabric of the building. So it's quite surprising how much heat escapes through little gaps within that passive house standard. That's why passive house build, that's why you can see that difference in terms of the numbers of the air permeability of the air changes with the passive house being a 0.6, where the current building regs are showing it at 5. So as you will be limiting that air movement, you will then require to install mechanical heat recovery ventilation system in order to maintain that air quality for your internal comfort. And this will also aid to recover the heat from your heating system. So these are basic performance criteria where, when we are choosing the construction method, that are helpful in you choosing that. So one thing to say here in terms of the construction method suitable for a passive house, I guess, that you can actually build a passive house for any construction method. And there are other aspects of that consideration that are worth mentioning here, but obviously somebody could be looking at block and beam construction because there's availability of contractors who do that in your area, and of course you can do that. It's slightly more challenging when it comes to the detailing. So there are modern methods of construction that have been specifically developed to deal with those aspects of fabric first approach. So some are naturally airtight, obviously some have continuous insulation internally, and it's much easier to avoid any errors on site while building from those methods, particularly if they are factory made. So there are other considerations that you can see on the screen on your slide that you need to ask yourself those questions, and that will help you in that construction choice as well. So just a quick summary of how to choose the construction method. So you want to do your research and decide which construction method best suits your requirements, including budget, speed, and thermal performance. And then what we generally advise our clients, you select the construction method and then you go out to the 3 suppliers of that construction method and get comparative quotes. Look at the factory, speak to the manufacturers, build the relationships with them, because that will allow you to negotiate the best price.